This lecture will be devoted on Lok Adalat, and in particularly it is an apparatus and mechanism for speedy, affordable and accessible justice through alternative dispute resolution. So in that case, we would like to discuss what Lok Adalat literally means people's court, are a unique innovation within India's justice delivery framework. They represent a form of alternative dispute resolution designed to provide speedy, accessible, and cost effective justice to the masses, rooted in the spirit of community justice. Lok Adalats draw inspiration from India's traditional system of village panchayats, where disputes were often settled amicably outside the rigidities of formal courts. The constitutional framework that we found regarding Lok Adalats, which lies in Article 39A, which is a part of the directive principle of state policy, which is part 4th of the Constitution of India, which mandates the state to promote justice on the basis of equal opportunity and ensure free legal aid so that justice is not denied due to economic or social disability. This vision was given statutory backing with the enactment of the Legal Services Authority Act of 1987. So, which institutionalized Lok Adalats as a nationwide mechanism to provide justice at the doorstep of the people. So now we will discuss the very provision as it is provided under the Legal Services Authorities Act 1987. So what exactly Section 19 provides? Section 19 of the Act provides state legal services authorities, district legal services authorities, then taluk committees. So, it provides statutory recognition to Lok Adalats as part of India's formal justice system, which under Section 19 authorizes state legal services authorities, district legal services authorities and taluk committees to organize Lok Adalat, while Section 20 and Section 21 provides, while Section 20 in particularly provides Lok Adalats to take cognizance of disputes referred by courts or brought by parties at the pre-litigation stage. And while Section 21 declares that awards of Lok Adalats are deemed to be decrees of a civil court, binding on all parties and enforceable like a regular court order. Importantly, no appeal lies against such orders. The statutory framework ensures that while Lok Adalats operate informally, their awards enjoy the full legal status of judicial decrees. So now we'll discuss the very objectives laid down under the Act as regarding access to justice, inexpensive, speedy resolution, reducing judicial backlog, and promoting amicable settlement and people's participation. So access to justice as to implement and operationalize Article 39A of the Directive Principle of State Policy, and to ensure that justice is not restricted to those with financial or social advantages. Further, the next objective is inexpensive and speedy resolution to minimize cost and delays that characterize the regular judicial process. Further, the important objective is reducing judicial backlog to ease the heavy case load burdening India's judiciary, in particularly the trial courts, the High Court and the Supreme Court. Further, the objective is relating to promoting amicable settlement to encourage compromise and mutual understanding, thereby reducing hostility between parties. And the last most important objective of the Act is to foster community involvement in dispute resolution, strengthening trust in justice system. And now we will discuss about the jurisdictions, and in particularly jurisdictions relating to pending cases and pre-litigation disputes and compoundable offences and flexibility, informal, conciliatory, the negotiation and compromise. So, Lok Adalats can handle cases pending before courts or pre-litigation disputes brought directly by parties before litigation begins. However, they cannot adjudicate non-compoundable criminal offences, for example, murder, rape, dacoity. Further, the procedure is informal, flexible, and conciliatory, unlike the rigid rules of evidence and procedure in regular courts. The role of Lok Adalats is not to decide cases on merit but to facilitate settlements through negotiation and compromise. Now we discuss the types of Lok Adalats, in particularly permanent Lok Adalat, national Lok Adalat, mobile Lok Adalat, mega Lok Adalat. So, permanent Lok Adalat established under Section 22B of the Legal Services Authorities Act 1987 deals with disputes relating to public utility services, for example, transport, postal services, electricity, telecommunication, water supply, etc. They can decide cases on merits if no settlement is reached. And regarding National Lok Adalat, which is conducted across the country on a single day, focusing on mass disposal of cases, all courts from the Supreme Court to the Taluk courts participate simultaneously in National Lok Adalat. Then we'll discuss about the mobile Lok Adalat, which moves from place to place, particularly in rural and remote areas, to deliver justice at the people's doorstep. And finally, we'll discuss about the mega Lok Adalat, which are organized at the state level, where cases across all districts are taken up simultaneously for settlement. And now we'll discuss the very judicial support and recognition. And in particular, in that context, we will discuss one important leading case, State of Punjab versus Jalwar Singh in 2008. So, in the very important landmark case, State of Punjab versus Jalwar Singh in 2008, the Supreme Court clarified that the awards of Lok Adalats are binding and final with no scope for appeal. The judiciary has consistently upheld Lok Adalats as instruments of justice that are both constitutionally aligned and socially relevant. So, in several rulings, courts have emphasized their role in ensuring access to justice and reducing pendency of several cases. So, in that connection, now we will go to discuss the various advantages of Lok Adalat, in particularly speedy resolution, low cost, amicable settlement, and reduce burden on the regular courts, and flexibility and accessibility. So, among these advantages, the first one is speedy resolution. Disputes are settled quickly without prolonged litigation. The second advantage is the low cost. No court fees is charged even if already paid in court. It is refunded on settlement. Then the third advantage that we found amicable settlement which promotes compromise, preserving social and family relationship. The fourth advantage, that is reduced burden on courts, helps in lowering pendency and judicial backlog. The next advantage is relating to flexibility, free from rigid procedural technicalities of regular courts as relating to the law of evidence and the law relating to civil procedure. Then the final advantage that we found is accessibility, especially beneficial for the poor, marginalized and rural population. Besides that, also we found certain limitations. No decisions on merits. One of the limitations, the second limitation is no appeal. Then the third limitation is limited jurisdiction. And the last limitation, that is relating to perception of informality. So, among those limitations, the first one is no decision on merits. Awards are based on compromise only. If parties refuse to settle, the Lok Adalat cannot impose a decision. Further, no appeal. Another limitation, the absence of an appellate remedy may disadvantage parties who feel coerced into compromise. The third limitation is relating to limited jurisdiction, restricted mainly to civil disputes, compoundable criminal cases, and certain service-related disputes. And the fourth and the final limitation is perception of informality. Some litigants distrust Lok Adalats, believing them to lack the authority and seriousness of regular courts. And now we will discuss the very important aspects of its relevancy at present day. So, at present, India faces a staggering pendency of over 4.5 court cases across courts. Lok Adalats have emerged as a vital parallel mechanism to ease this burden. They have been particularly effective in matrimonial disputes, check bounce cases, motor accident claims, small scale civil disputes. National Lok Adalat have recorded settlement of lakhs of cases in a single day, reflecting their growing role. They also promote social harmony as disputes are resolved through consensus, not adversarial litigation. So now we would like to conclude our discussion on Lok Adalat. So, Lok Adalat embodied the constitutional ideal of access to justice as it is provided under Article 39A, which we found under Part 4 of the Constitution relating to directive principle of state policy, which was inserted under the 42nd Constitutional Amendment Act of 1976 and also reflected the Indian judiciary's commitment to innovation in dispute resolution. While limitations exist, such as lack of appellate remedy and jurisdictional restrictions, their contribution to reducing judicial backlog, promoting amicable settlement, and delivering justice to the marginalized cannot be overstated. With the rising case load in courts, Lok Adalat will continue to be a cornerstone of India's justice delivery system, balancing efficiency with equity. So, for that very purpose, as per the direction to state as provided under Article 39A of Directive Principle of State Policy, the state and the Parliament of India enacted the Legal Services Authorities Act 1987, which in particularly under Section 19 clearly provided for the constitution and establishment of state legal services authorities, the state district legal services authorities and taluk committees. Besides that, the jurisdiction of those Lok Adalats and the particular authority is also provided under Section 20 and Section 21 and Section 22A of the Legal Services Authorities Act 1987.